Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast. Life and the choices we make, the choices other people make. This podcast explores all things as they relate to dating and romantic relationships. Why we ignore or choose to ignore or miss the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, lying, narcissistic behavior, deception, and so much more. Join me each week as we continue my journey into the modern dating world with my weekend rants, anonymous guest dating stories, and experts who share their wisdom so I can help you navigate the dating terrain. If you are new to the show or have been with me from the beginning, hold on tight to the Anonymous Andrew Experience. Greetings, Anonymous Andrew, with you tonight. It is Friday night, December 29th. I just came back from a date. Yes, I had a date tonight. And if you've been following with me over the last couple of weeks, it is with the woman I recently met on one of my apps. And it went fantastic. I have to tell you, folks, this is one of the reasons why I started this podcast. This whole new concept about modern dating, especially if you're doing it from a dating app, all the protocols and procedures and do's and don'ts. You can't go to dinner on the first date. You can't, or you must go to a Starbucks, or you must go. I just listen to the past two seasons, what we've been talking about. Sometimes you just have to throw that all out the window. I'm going to tell you a little bit about tonight, and then I'm going to talk about a little bit of a rant that I have. A couple of nights ago, it's the holiday season, and as I mentioned my last weekend, this woman and I have been texting and talking, but it's smack in the middle of Christmas and New Year's, and I had family in from out of town, and she had family in, and while we were talking and texting every day, it wasn't rational and logical to put a night aside to get together. It seemed to be too much pressure on her, and the right thing to do was to just wait till the holidays are over. All right, so we didn't wait till the entire holidays were over. So I spoke to her during this week. We reconnected after Christmas, and I said to her, I'd like to take you out this weekend if you think you have the time. If you still have family in, and you know, this weekend is New Year's Eve. Well, Sunday night is, and blah, 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 blah. And she said, no, I think I can get out Friday night. And then came it wasn't awkward between us, but then came the awkward moment, because in the back of my head, I'm hearing all these podcasts telling me, do not take her on the first date to dinner. Do not do that. In my head was Starbucks, Panera Bread, a diner, something where you just sit down with a cup of coffee and you meet and you greet and you talk for 20 minutes to 40 minutes, and then you say goodbye, and then you decide whether or not you want to go on a second date. You know what? I brought that up with her, and I said, look, I'd like to take you out. And she said she would like to go out. And I think I had mentioned she lives about 30 minutes away. And she offered to meet me halfway. And then came up the idea of where. And I said, well, because it was instinctive in my head because of this concept, I said, is there a Starbucks or Panera near you? And she says, yeah, I think there's one, so, blah, 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 distance from here. And it just occurred to me, why? We've been talking and texting for 2 weeks. It was very clear to me, and I hope for her, that we wanted to meet and spend some time. And the next word out of her mouth was, do you like sushi? And I love sushi. So we found a place exactly midway between where she lives and where I live that happens to be a very reputable sushi restaurant that both of us have been to before. So it was a common ground, common place, safe place for her, a place that I knew. She was comfortable going there. And here's the best part. And it's completely backwards from what everybody's telling us not to do. This sushi place is one of those real sushi places where you walk in and you get one of those booths where these doors open and you step into it and you sit down on the floor. Well, like it's you don't sit on the floor, but you step down into the booth and you're lower. And then they close the doors. So you have complete privacy until the waitress comes over and opens the doors. But you get the idea. It was quiet. We had this nice little ambient lighting. We ordered our sushi and our drinks. Well, we didn't, not alcohol, but we ordered our beverages and we began our date. And I just got home. I don't know. We were there maybe an hour and a half. Add the driving in, so maybe 2.5 hours, the whole thing. And it was phenomenal. We had a great time. I don't know if I should tell you the next part. She told me she had gone on a date the week before and that while the man met the criteria that she was looking for in so many ways, that during the entire dinner time, he only spoke about himself. He never asked any questions to her. She started the date off telling me about her last date and how not well it went. Basically giving me instructions on how I should conduct myself. And that's exactly what I did. And when the bill came, when the check came, I grabbed it and I paid it. And yes, she did offer to split it. And I said, no, thank you. I have this. I don't care what this generation is talking about splitting bills and going to Starbucks and all these rules. I pulled out the old, traditional, I'm going to say it, old-fashioned way of dating. I took this lady out to dinner tonight, and it was a success because at the end of the dinner, I said, I would like to see you again. And she said, I would like to see you again. And we got up, and I walked her to her car, and I asked her to text me when she got home, and she did. And then we had a brief texting exchange about how nice the dinner was, and thank you, and we'll talk tomorrow. And tomorrow I'm going to call her and see when she would like to get together again. I'm not going to do this, wait 3 days, see if she texts me first. No, I'm going to court this woman because I found her extremely attractive, extremely pleasant to be with. She was funny. She was outgoing. She was... It was a really good hour and a half, fun hour and a half. We laughed. We told stories. I got to know her a little bit better. I'm just tired of the social media and other podcasts and wherever it's coming from that you have to follow this procedure if you meet somebody on a dating app. Yes, I'm a complete stranger to this woman, and she's a complete stranger to me. But we're both adults, and we decided mutually to go to dinner. And while it was a public place, it was private. So I bring up these doors that they closed. You know, this whole idea of going to a public place is so, well, God forbid the man is, aggressive or something. I know. I know. In some cities and in some instances, the woman should take precaution. I'm not saying don't take precautions. If the woman isn't comfortable meeting, if she wasn't comfortable meeting me and going to a sushi restaurant with closed doors, she wouldn't have offered it. Wow. I'm going off on a rant on this. Okay. That's enough about that. I'll keep you updated on this. I have a feeling there'll be a lot more to this story, but I just want to let you guys know I had a date tonight. It went great, and I'm going to hopefully see her again, and I'll keep you updated. Okay, on to a topic now that hopefully you'll be hearing a lot more about. You may or may not have been hearing about an organization called Twin Flame Universe, TFU. They've been on Netflix and Amazon. There are several documentaries that did a whole documentary on this organization, aka cult. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it or go to either Netflix or Amazon and type in Twin Flames. And I think one of them is called Escaping the Twin Flames Universe. And Netflix has 2 or 3 episodes and Amazon has 1. It's on there. If you haven't heard from it by now, then you're not looking for it or you don't care about it. But if it's something that is disgusting what's going on in this cult. And somebody reached out to me who wanted to talk about it. And I'm not going to give you too much information now, but I may launch some sort of investigative research with a co-host on this in the coming months. I'll give you a little bit of a teaser about what's going on. This cult promises you that if you join their organization and you pay upwards of $6,000, they will find you your twin flame. Now, it's not a matchmaking service. It is a cult, or they call it some sort of actually, I don't know what they call it. That's why I'm going to do some research on it. But the idea is that they coach you into finding your twin flame. But it goes downhill from there. If they find you a twin flame, you're supposed to go after that twin flame no matter what, until they agree to be your twin flame. And there are stories of people being stalked and restraining orders. There are gender identity. So if you join them and they decide that you're a twin flame for somebody else, but you're the wrong gender, they make you or suggest highly that you go through top surgery or transgender surgery. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much going on, including, I think there's some rape allegations. I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm just saying what I'm hearing and what I've heard on Netflix. I'm just giving you a heads up that over the next month or two, there may be several episodes dealing with this. I'm looking to get somebody who was in this cult and that got out of it to come on my show. If you know of anybody, I have already somebody working on this. We're reaching out to several support groups that are helping these people that got out. But this cult is pretty dangerous. Okay, I just wanted to talk to you about that. That was supposed to be my rant. It seemed like my date was more of a rant because of the protocols. At this point, I'm going to say goodnight. And this is the last episode of 2023. Because in 2 days, it's New Year's Eve. So I want to wish you and your family and anybody listening a very happy and healthy new year. An Anonymous Andrew podcast will be going right through 2024. I am not going anywhere. I just checked my data, my analytics, and I have tripled my listenership, my audience in the past 4 months. And my social media is exploding. So I'm getting the word out. And thank you to anybody who has left a review, who has shared this podcast, and all those who have reached out to me. You know who you are. I am eternally grateful for you. This podcast is beyond my wildest dreams. I came on here a year ago to bitch and moan about my ex-girlfriend who boo-hoo broke my heart because she was sleeping with other men for money or something to that effect. It has morphed into a completely different podcast. And I'm very grateful for all of you. And for my guests, all the guests that have been on, and the professionals, the experts, and the average person who came on to tell their story. I have a few more lined up for you. Some people coming on to tell their stories. At least 2 coming up that I have recorded. So, all right. With that said, Happy New Year. And if you are going to make a choice, please, I urge of you, before you jump into any relationship, take some time and ask yourself, is this person the right person for me? Until next time, folks. Ciao.